Did it have a bone in it?
I'm choking on potato chips.
Drunk bitches be like. Drunk bitches be like. Drunk bitches be like.
Welcome to Drunk Bitches Be Like. I'm Brandy.
I'm Mindy.
And this is all about two women, a few beers, some tipsy stories, and some drunk ideas.
Welcome. So today I was thinking about both of us, and I went to Kohl's. Mm-hmm. I had to get him a shirt, because so far I don't know his shirt size, and neither does he. So we're just doing a trial of errors.
Yeah.
So I've bought 2 shirts so far. Cannot find the third one that I need to buy, and I possibly need to buy a 4th one just to see where we're at. So they didn't have the shirts. I looked everywhere. And then I'm like, well, what else do I need here? I don't need any more decorations for the wedding because I have an overabundance of decorations. That's my fault. I just keep buying stuff, and I'm probably not going to use a lot of it. But since I'm buying it this week, I can return it on next Monday. So I'm walking around and I go to the bathroom because for some reason Kohl's makes me have to go to the bathroom, and I'm coming back through and I see these fluffy indoor outdoor, like high loft, nice and dense indoor outdoor seat pads because we're using really hard stools, and as heavy as I am, I still have no padding on my butt and on occasion in my bones. I just like, am I getting a bed sore while we're talking for 2 hours?
We've talked about your bony butt before. Yeah.
So I grabbed those, and I didn't bring a cart, so I was carrying them around, and I was like, do this smarter, Mindy. So I stopped and I untied the little bows that they have so that you can tie them to the seat. I untied those and I knotted them together and I slung them over my shoulder.
Nice.
So I looked like I was wearing a pillow flak jacket. So I got those, went and looked for a pair of sunglasses because I have contacts now. So it's nice to have a regular set of sunglasses. And I bought something else. I'm not sure what it was. I was walking around with 3 things, maybe 4. And Kohl's here, no matter which store I've been to, they have 1 set of registers closed.
Oh, yeah.
So, but they have 8 registers open at the other end, which is fine. But I walked in or started to get in the line, and for some reason when I looked, I was like, there's like only like 6 or 7 people in line. I can do that. And then I looked up and I was like, oh no, it's like wrapping around, it's turned the corner.
Oh yeah, it gets real long, especially when they do, because they do the 6 foot spacing.
Yeah,
even though
nobody's keeping 6 foot there.
No, that's true. I mean, when you get closer, they have the sticker on the floor. But once you get past the stickers, nobody does that.
No. All of those people from the restrooms up to the sticker, the first sticker, standing elbows to assholes. I'm like, back up. So, yeah. So I did something that when I was in retail, I hated. I turned around to the nearest table. I set everything down and I walked out because I was not standing in line. I was already breaking a sweat. It was unreasonably warm in there, and waiting just makes me sweat more. And I was like, the chances that this is going to make me also have to go to the bathroom again, pretty high. Mm-hmm. I just don't want to do this. I'm just going to go someplace else.
Yeah.
So I went down to Joann's, where it was also unreasonably hot, but they had 20% off your entire purchase.
All right. Joann's is always hot inside there.
I don't know why. I wonder if it's because there's like little old ladies working back at the cut table and they're cold.
Honestly, I feel like the average age of the person who not only shops there but also works there is probably a little on the older side. And for some reason, it's
I resemble that.
I mean, it is a status quo, though. When you get older, you get colder.
Probably.
I mean,
I'm not sure. I haven't got there yet.
I haven't either, but I feel like I'm on the borderline of it, because today it was it went from, we were at 73 and I was perfectly comfortable. It hit 66 and I was like, oh, it is chilly.
You've got Florida temperature-itis.
Right.
When I lived in Florida, so I never acclimated, and the Panhandle it's warm.
Yeah,
it's warm. So we lived, not Panhandle. Yes, Panhandle. Panama City is what I meant to say, but Panhandle is where that is.
That is true.
So the first year that we moved there, I moved there in April. And by the fall, we saw people in parkas, like olive green with a little fur trim around the hood, down past your ass parkas. My roommate and I are in like not short shorts, but almost to your knee shorts, t-shirts, still in flip-flops. And people are looking at us like we're the crazy ones. Like, you're in a parka. It's 63 degrees out.
Now, I will say, so I had the same kind of experience when I lived in Las Vegas, because now in the wintertime it does get cold, especially since you're in the desert. At night it gets very cold. And by very cold, I mean like it'll get down to the 40s, 30s. It did snow once when I was there and people lost their shit. But it was a snow that like it would snow and then as soon as the flake would hit anything, it would melt immediately and just evaporate because everything else was like super hot. But I will say it was really funny to live through a winter there because you started getting used to the 120 degree heat. Not used to it, but it's just a thing. And so then you would hit
It's
wintertime.
a dry heat.
It's a dry heat. It's fine. You're used to it. But then you would hit wintertime and you would have average temps, you're in the 50s and 60s and it's like, all right, whatever. Fine. And I would wear a t-shirt still and jeans maybe, but there would be people in full on hoodies and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know how you're walking around in that. Like I would be dying, like sweating my butt off.
Yeah.
And these people are walking around in like full pants, full like sweatshirts, hoodies, like hats, like they're all bundled up in like, I don't know, 60 degree weather. And it's like, I realize this is like 40 degrees south of what you're used to in the summertime, but man, I like it. This is temperate. This is nice.
Right. I enjoyed evenings. I've been to Vegas twice for work, which means staying there for a week at a time during the week. So not as fun. And it's usually in March, which apparently is a slow period there. So everybody's very happy to have the convention that we go there. Like cab drivers are super nice to you. Uber drivers are super nice to you because there are 75 to 100,000 people that are either not spectators, attendees or exhibitors.
Oh, yeah.
Like spectators.
Convention days are the best days.
So, and we would always be at the Venetian. The convention is at the Venetian. We did not stay at the Venetian. We talked about before. I stayed at Planet Hollywood.
Yeah.
And one person got to stay at the Cosmopolitan.
Ooh, fancy.
Very nice for them. And then just walking around. I will say Planet Hollywood has a decent casino.
Yeah.
Although it's really embarrassing to be out in Vegas walking around a casino with your boss while there's a go-go girl dancing on top of the table that you're standing by.
Yeah, that's unfortunate in some of the places.
Yeah. And everybody tries not to look.
Yeah. But there's no way to look.
Yeah. I'm like, and they look. So my roommate from Florida was in the Air Force and she was stationed in South Korea for a year. Mm-hmm. And she used to tell me about the go-go girls there because they do hopefully some military people are listening. They do a very specific dance. It's not like what you see in a strip club here. They're holding the pole and they do this very like step forward, foot together, step back, foot together, step right, foot together, step left, foot together. And they just do this with like dead eyes.
So it's like a line dance with the pole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they're just holding on to it, doing not really a box step, but kind of a box step.
Okay.
They're dead eyes.
Foxtrotting with the pole.
There you go. Completely not trying to entice anybody. This is just the job that they have.
Right.
Bless their hearts. And in some of them, like you have mama-sans, and I didn't want to get into the seedy side of South Korea. I want to see it as like nice and like, with blooming trees and shit like that.
Right.
But when we were at the casino, the girls there look exactly the same. So they're not the strippers. They're I imagine they also do have a stripping job, but they're go-go girls, which means if you haven't been to Vegas, they stand on a table in a skimpy outfit, which is usually like those little boy short undies that, like booty shorts, but they're not made out of short material.
Yeah. Oh no, they're the shiny like spandex stuff.
Or even just the matte ones that actually do look like undies.
Yeah.
And then fishnets of varying sizes.
Okay, here's my thing. Whenever I see that, I'm always intrigued because I've owned a few pair of fishnets in my day.
Right.
And they all come up like waist level, right? And these girls that are wearing these fishnets under these booty shorts, like these booty shorts clearly do not come up to waist level. They are very low rise things. I have always been super intrigued on how the fishnets stay up underneath the shorts because clearly they're either made for low rise things or they're attached to the shorts.
I think they're attached.
Are they?
I think.
I'm always intrigued I'd buy that.
If you know go-go dancers or anybody who wears skimpy little panties with fishnets,
I want to know
for
how
their
they
job.
hide the top underneath the underwear without it being bunched up, because that's a very tight thing.
Yeah.
You'd be able to see it if it was like bunched
Right.
up under there.
I have a different thought when I'm seeing that, which is how do you keep your panties on your ass cheeks? Like,
Oh, yeah.
how are they not? Those girls have a better behind than I do, but they're really petite, and I'm like, how is your ass not eating those?
Yeah. How do you keep them up where they're supposed to? How
Right.
do you keep them to stay where they are?
I'm assuming that they use so when I only did a couple of pageants when I was a teenager, and there's a spray that you spray on, and then you
Ooh.
put your bathing suit on so
like
that
sticky
it sticks.
spray?
Yep.
Interesting.
So it sticks to your ass.
All right.
So I'm assuming it's something like that, but it's not good on your skin. But the boots, the vinyl shiny boots of varying heights, but always with a 6-inch heel, and then the little bra top, and then maybe sometimes a quirky little hat, like a little police officer hat. But they look bored as shit. And then there's like the circle of desperate men who are sitting around them just staring up. I'm like, you guys, go play something. Go do something else. Go stand in front of a dealer that has a full outfit on. You need a break.
So did I ever tell you about the strip club I accidentally ended up in Vegas?
I think you went to dinner or lunch or something.
All right, good. So I did tell you about that. Because I'm like, in Vegas, there's just like strip clubs everywhere and stripper or go-go dancers everywhere. And I feel like you just constantly run into them no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
It's just a fact of life there. It's like it's sad, but you get used to seeing women just like,
Right.
dancing on a pole.
Yeah. So, where was it we went? There is a restaurant, like if you go on the Bellagio side and then you go up steps, down steps, up steps, down steps, you end up in, I don't even know what casino it is or what building it is. I knew that there was not a Balenciaga. Maybe it was a Balenciaga. Something fancy that has like belts that cost a shit ton of money and like woven purses.
Well, I'm guessing, so next to Bellagio, I believe is Caesar's Palace, and they have the whole shopping mall that's attached.
That's probably it. Like very expensive things. And my boss was like, hey, well, we're waiting for our dinner reservation. Let's go walk through those things. And no shit, he wasn't kidding. Like belts for $5,000, not $5,000, like $1,500. And then they were like, do you want to see this purse? And they put on little white gloves. And I was like, no, I don't want to touch it. I don't want it to be anywhere near it. So you can just take it back. But we went back and we were waiting outside. I think I went to the Gucci store, the Fendi store or something. It's a bunch of high-end stores there.
Yep.
And they made me nervous. So we went back, and the restaurant we were at, which I think is called the American or the Americano or something, had a big patio. But it also has like a little like L-shaped bar that's kind of sitting in the little shopping center type thing. And there were two girls, white blonde hair down to their asses, ginormous sunglasses on, very long nails. And then they're in like juicy tracksuits, but the really high cropped track jacket, but with long sleeves still, and still with juicy on their ass. This is a while ago, and very tan, and they are talking very loudly to each other and like nail clicking and all this other stuff. And I look over at my boss and went, escort or not? He was like, I think she's an escort. I was like, I'm pretty sure they are. I think they're trying to attract attention to themselves. And that became my favorite game in Vegas was, it's not hooker. It's, sex worker or not a sex worker.
Yeah.
It was my favorite thing. I wasn't judging anybody. I just wanted to see how accurate I was. But I didn't ask anybody because that's rude.
Well, yeah. You can't walk up to and be like, hey.
I just made an assumption.
So...
It's quite possible they just like long white blonde hair, big nails, and giant sunglasses.
I feel like that is a fashion trend with some people.
Yeah, my stylist. So we've been fighting my hair. And she's been great about it. She had to lighten it because I had trashed it. So she had to go in and do some things. The first time I saw her, 4 hours of lightening process.
Oh, God.
And then she was like, do not wash your hair this week. And then she was like, if you have to do anything, she's like, spray a little water on your roots and run some cool like heat over it while you're holding it up. if you have to do anything. And I was like, all right. So then I went back to her. And my hair was super fragile. So I go back to her 4 weeks later and she goes, what are we doing? And I'm like, well, I saw this picture in this thing called a shadow root and I would like to do that. And she literally is like, thank God, because I thought you were going to make me bleach it again and it was all going to fall out. And I'm like, no, I came to my senses. Like, if you give me enough time, I will talk myself out of a bad idea for the most part.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't have that time to think about it. And then I just do the bad thing. So she did it. It was great. It was like 2.5 hours. And when you get into that type of process, it becomes like you have to pay her by the hour.
Yeah.
And it's like $85 an hour. So the first visit was expensive as shit. And you have to prepay.
Yeah.
Because it's a color correction. So you have to pay half up front.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because it's at least going to be 2 or 3 hours minimum. So it's $90. I know it was $180 and I had to pay $90 up front.
Oy.
And I was there for longer than like what that covered. But then that time, so then I just went back to her and she's like, so how do you like it? And I'm like, it needs more tone. And can you redo my shadow root? And then she overthought it for a while. She came back and was like, yeah, I got it. I don't know why I was overthinking it. And she did all kinds of things to my hair. And I walked out looking pretty. And then I stuck a barrette and then pulled it back out of my face. And she's wanting to know what I'm doing with it for the wedding. And I was like, I guess we'll figure that out on the day of, because I'm not paying somebody to do it. I'm tired of seeing people. I have to go to the dentist on Monday to get my teeth cleaned, even though I just had them cleaned in November. I just want to have a nice smile. Tuesday, I have something to do. Oh, Tuesday, I'm getting my eyelashes tinted and
for everybody out there, we're a week out from the wedding.
Yeah. By the time this comes out, the wedding will be done. Mm-hmm. And hopefully you will have already listened to episode 6. And that'll be out sometime. It'll be out before this one.
I need to apologize for that. Life got real busy the past few weeks, so I apologize for all the inconsistencies in the release dates of all of these podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, she has a full-time job, a half-time job, and then this is like another half-time, part-time.
If you really add all of my jobs up, I've got about 4 that I legitimately get paid for. So 1 full-time and then 3 that I sometimes part-time work.
Nice.
Yeah. It's been a busy couple weeks.
So that happened. Let's see. Wednesday's the 14th. So I have to get toes and nails done. And I'm going super short. And every time I go to the nail salon, I just hear Angela Johnson in my head doing her nail thing, which is, I kind of don't like the whole like impersonating Vietnamese accents, but the whole like, why you get your nails short? Are you a lesbian? You're not going to get a man. And I'm like, no, I like my nails short because I need to do shit. I type all day long and I don't like that sound.
Oh yeah. No.
Clickety clack.
I mean, I enjoy having some nails every once in a while, but like personally, I'm never going to grow my nails. If I have long nails, it's because I glued them on. It's not because I grew them out. There's never going to be a point in time where I can grow my nails out because it's just not a thing that I can do.
I can, but they're so fragile and dry, they just break off. And I don't like to have lotion on my hands. I don't like to have lotion on the palms of my hands. It feels sticky, and then your hands feel dirty.
Yeah.
Very fast. But man, this freaking pandemic has made it worse because you're just going into every store and like using your elbow to pump. I don't know why they put pumps in. The automatic ones are better, but then nobody refills those. So yeah, I've set the gallon jug up there. And then some people forget to put a little goddamn rubber band around the pump. So you end up with like a bath, but still you're getting an alcohol scrub down at every store. And then midway through, I still go find stuff because I was touching stuff.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm afraid of germs. I'm super happy about this because I don't like my hands to feel gummy or dirty. Mm-hmm. So I just run over and like grab some extra sanitizer and scrub them up and go on about my day. So I was in Ulta today and did that 3 times. Once on the way in, halfway through, and once on the way out. But what am I doing? Yeah, Wednesdays. So keeping in mind, my in-laws will all be here by Monday. Sister-in-law and brother-in-law are coming in on Sunday. Mother-in-law mother-in-law, father-in-law coming in. My mom exists here, so she will be here. Luckily, she's used to me being a crazy woman. And then we have cousins coming in. Thursday, I messaged my, I'm just going to call her my best friend, which is going to annoy the crap out of her, our mutual friend. So I messaged her and said, hey, do you want to go get mimosas and Bloody Marys at another Broken Egg? It may be food. We can get food too if you want, but can we go get mimosas and Bloody Marys? I'm not going to be able to get the Bloody Marys because it make me swell up like a balloon.
Yeah.
And then I texted my sister-in-law because her husband will be working as they have an office branch here.
Oh.
So he's just going to work his
from
job.
here.
Yeah, which makes sense because they're in shit to do all week.
Yeah.
And she's bringing their puppy. They have a German Shepherd puppy.
Aww.
And I'm so excited. So I messaged her and I was like, do you want to go get drinks on Thursday morning? I mean, it's brunch, but
Yeah.
do you want to go get drinks on Thursday morning? And she said, yes, please. And I was like, great. We're all going to have to get an Uber. And none of those are happening now, but it is what it is. Friday, we have so much stuff booked. And then Saturday is the day of. And I will just be a complete mess. And our entire goal is not to throw up before
A good goal.
or during.
Yeah.
So, and then on Sunday and Monday, we're just going to not do a goddamn thing. I have to drive and get one of my dogs, and he has to go get the other two because we have too many animals. And they're all going to be boarded during the week because I can't worry about coming home and feeding anybody but myself and him.
Yeah. Those are important things.
So yeah, crazy lady. Lots of stuff to do next week.
Oh, it's going to be exciting though. I mean, I feel like you'll have a good time on Saturday.
I'm guessing I won't remember any of it.
Absolutely. You will not.
Yeah. So I've asked his dad. I think he's going to set up his GoPro and his dad is going to bring his GoPro because his grandmother can't be there.
Yeah.
But his parents are going there next. They have an RV. What do you call it?
Fifth wheel?
Diesel pusher? Like where you drive the thing.
You actually drive it.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's a camper.
No, I think it's an RV. Motorhome.
Motorhome.
Giant motorhome.
Okay.
I love this. I just imagine people screaming at us because I do it to
in
other
my brain,
people.
I was like Winnebago, and then I was like, nope, that's a brand. That's not the actual name of the thing.
No, but I want a damn Airstream. And then I went and looked at the price of them, and I was like, I still do.
I don't know if it's Airstream, but we were at...
They're the ones that look like the big silver bullets.
Yeah, it might be. No, but it's not Airstream. It looks kind of like an Airstream, though, but there's ones that are these high-tech fancy ones now. That have
Really?
oh, yeah. We were in a lot somewhere. I don't remember why or where or what we were doing, but there was like...
But you weren't looking for these.
No, we weren't looking for these, and there was a bunch of campers all lined up, and like you could see in the back window and everything, all the stuff, and like they were like the whole thing was automated and like all high-tech shit inside of it, and it was just fabulous looking, and I was like, I don't know what that is, but I want one.
Yeah, so his parents lucked out with this one. They had looked at several, and this one has slide outs, multiple slide outs. Mm-hmm. They can tow their car behind them. Yeah. And well, it's nice that their boobs were there to catch it.
Yeah, you know.
So they can they got a little car to tow behind it. It has multiple slide outs. It's really nice. I mean, excessively nice. Go them. I don't think they'll ever listen to this. I hope to God they don't. It's okay if his sister listens, but I don't think my in-laws need to know me this way. But it has a king size bed.
Oh, nice.
And then I think there's a full bath and a half bath in it.
I'm sorry, if you have more than one bathroom in your RV, then yeah,
it's really nice. But when they bring the slide-ins in, of course, the king size bed like kind of folds up into like a day bed.
Okay.
So it's really nice. And then they were using this tiny step at his brother-in-law's house to like get in it. One of those like folding.
Oh, like a little like
the one
stool?
No, like the one step. You know, the one step that kind of folds out like a hold crate. It's plastic, and it will fold up like an M or a W, and then you like pop it, and the little legs come down. But it's 100% plastic, all of it. And they were like, "You need to use the step when you get in." I was like, "No, I'm not stepping on that. God, no." I'll just haul my ass up with this bar here. I mean, it's a grab bar for a reason, right?
That's true.
God,
grab bars are my friend.
So you guys like to camp. So do you ever see like a a camper in your future? He's got a giant truck.
So I talked to him about it, actually. God, I think about it last week. I asked about it. He is a purist when it comes to camping.
No.
Yeah.
You guys should get divorced.
Easy. We're not married. So he likes backpacking, which I'm not opposed to. I like backpacking when like we had this discussion with he's very worldly as far as animals and nature and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, when I'm in my house, I don't want animals in my house. And
Right.
I'm not talking like pets. I'm talking ants or anything else like that. Like, I don't want those things in my house because they don't belong in my house.
Right.
And I don't care if they're there when I'm out. Like if I go and have a picnic and the ants are invading, I'm on their turf, that's their turf. I invaded. Okay. They're coming after me, whatever. But in my house.
That was my elbow.
It did sound.
I have yet to pass gas on the show other than, belching and hiccups.
Well, but yeah, so he's very much so a purist when it comes to camping. And I asked, I was like, would you ever want to get a camper or whatever? Because a Winnebago sounds fun to me.
Yeah.
That you could, maybe tow a little car or something behind you. But he has no interest in it. Although he did say he wouldn't mind getting maybe a little pop-up or something that's just something to sleep in that has maybe some air conditioning or something. Because we're getting older, so sleeping on the ground's a little harder. But he doesn't want to have a full-on camper that has a TV and all that other stuff.
I don't want to shower and pee in a group, in a communal, because there's always some kind of weird shit, bugs or a tampon in the shower.
Yeah, I will say, so most of the state parks that we go to, that I have been going to for the past couple of years, have all, the shower houses and stuff have always been really great. So, and I don't mind those, because even when I go camping with my dad in his fifth wheel, he has a shower and stuff in there, but unless we have a full hookup, I usually don't use the shower. I'll use the toilet every once in a while if I need to. But I will mostly go to the shower house to take a shower and stuff, only because I don't want to use up all the water in the tank, and
Right.
depending on how long we're parked, having to dump the lines and everything else, it's just a pain in the ass unless you're on a full hookup. So if we're doing electric only, I'll go to the shower house and use those. And I will say most of them have been pretty good. You're right, though. There are, especially in the sticky hot days of the summer, you'll get some that just have bugs plastered against the wall, and it's kind of creepy and gross and
Spiders.
whatever. Yeah. So I'm I'm
Spiders.
okay with a pop-up of just because they have those little teardrop ones now where they have a sleeping area, and then you open up the back and it has a little kitchen thing.
Yeah, I should show you.
Yeah.
I should send you. I'll have you follow this. Everybody else can go too, because I think they'll start traveling this summer. My friend and her husband refabbed. Is that a thing? They did something. They took a U-Haul, teardrop trailer, and converted it into a camper.
Camper, yeah.
And it's adorable. And her name is Tallulah.
Oh, nice.
And if I can find the hell she is.
But yeah, so he kind of was maybe one of those one day, that would be okay, because it's not, I think the problem is he doesn't want to have to deal with that's adorable.
I take it back. It's not a teardrop one, but
It's not a teardrop, but that's even cuter and looks roomier than a teardrop one.
I like it. Hey, if you guys want to follow them, they are traveling_with_Tallulah on Instagram.
So I think the problem is that he doesn't want to have to deal with when you have a camper that has water lines and has sewer and all that kind of stuff.
He doesn't want to black water?
Yeah, you have to winterize and do all that kind of stuff. And so I think he wants something that if we do kind of a camper thing, it's going to be a situation where there's not water, there's not anything that we have to winterize or do any of that kind of stuff with. It's pack it up, put it away, pop it out, and you're good to go.
I do want to, I would like to move in the next year. And one of the things, I found a house in Spring Valley, but the housing market is freaking crazy.
Oh, it's stupid right now.
Which is why I'm hoping this all holds out until the end of the summer so that you can sell my house, because I'm pretty sure somebody will buy it for, $60,000. Hell with it.
Yeah.
And then pay you and pay my closing, and I don't have to be out anything. But I was looking at this house in Spring Valley, which would be closer to my mother. not much further away, like depending on which way you go to here.
No.
Because there's like a gazillion ways. That's my favorite part about this part of Ohio is you never have to get on a highway. There's a back way everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And there's like 10 of them. So we were looking at it, and one of the things that I really wanted is it had a full RV hookup.
Oh.
So obviously they had family or whatever that would come up, and
Right.
With his parents having this, I think they're called diesel pushers, like the engine's in the back.
Right.
So it's like driving a bus.
Right.
Since they have that, I would love to have someplace like that. The only KOA near here, two dreams in my life, but the only KOA near here is in Lebanon.
Oh.
In which, if you're listening to this, it's like 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
And it's a lot because they've got their dog with them and they'll have to go back and forth, and we won't really get to go down there that often to visit them. They'll have to come up here because of stuff that's happening. And I would love to either have a house that has camper hookups, full camper hookups.
Yeah.
And then as much as some of my friends are like, that's gross. Grow up in the country. It won't be gross. If you have a leach field, they just go back and dump their black water in the leach field, and then it's gone.
It's fine. Yeah.
Leach fields aren't that smelly. So I didn't even know we had that one. I just wondered at the back of our where I grew up. I'm like, why is the grass so green over there? My dad's like, you're a moron. So I either want to have hookups there, or there was some property in Miamisburg near like the Carillon area, 39 acres.
Wow.
And it really wasn't that much for 39 acres.
Yeah.
It would have been a price to drop. I think it was like $400,000, 250, someplace between 250 and 400.
Right.
It's a long time ago. And I sent a copy of it to like our mutual friends because they're looking to move away from their fucking crazy neighbors. Which, by the way, I totally support them in moving away from those neighbors. But if it was me, I just want to win.
Yeah. You would stay and make their life a
I
living
would
hell.
stay out of spite, and then I would not do anything loud. I've already given them some things that I would do. But anyway, so this property I sent them, and I was like, hey, you guys could build, because it was actually a very reasonable amount.
Yeah.
Considering it's 39 acres. I was like, maybe we could split it and we could each build and never see each other anyway.
Yeah.
But then I showed it to my partner, and I was like, wouldn't this be a great place to make a campground? I'm like, but like no tents, campground, just like campers with electrical hookups, and we'd have Wi-Fi places and whatever. I'm like, I would like to do that. And I said, we can build our own house there. We can have our own pool, their own pool.
Yeah.
That type of thing. He was like, that's great, but do you know how much that costs? And I was like, I mean, it's called a dream for a reason. And I didn't even know I had that dream until I saw that property and was like, this would be a great place for a campground. And then your parents could come here more often. But they're driving from Arizona.
Oh, wow.
So I think they're in like Arkansas now
Oh.
or something.
Man.
I don't know. I don't remember how I got to Arizona, so I'm not really sure how they're coming back.
I remember driving through Arizona on my way home. I know it involved Oklahoma, and there was like a tornado warning while I was driving through.
Nice.
And I was like, I'm terrified. I'm going to go to my hotel and just cower in my room until somebody tells me it's okay.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oklahoma's not a place. Oh, where were they going to be? Yesterday, I think they were going to be in Joplin, Missouri, and I was like, hope you got good weather.
Oh, God.
So I grew up in and around Xenia, Ohio, which...
Tornado Alley, man.
Yeah, every time you see a disaster show about tornadoes, they mention us to this day.
Well, because not only did you have one, like the massive one, like back in, what was it, 74 or something?
Yeah, and on the scale, I think they said it still would have been... So it used to be an F5, and I think on the scale, it still would be an EF5.
Yeah.
Because it was massive.
Yeah.
They actually... My teacher in school pointed out, this was 1990.
Yeah.
And the tornado was in 73, 74.
Something like that.
Something
I remember
like that.
it being in the early mid 70s.
And she said, you'll notice that there are no trees higher than 2 stories when you go to downtown Dayton and where the path went, because they planted trees after the fact. But it's only been, at that time, it had been less than 20 years.
Yeah, so there's no trees that have grown that far.
Right. So she was like, you can almost follow the path based off of the height of the trees.
Right.
So that was a very long time ago.
Man.
But yeah, we had that one in 2000 also, where my mom called me at a bar in Kettering and said, you should come home, which meant I would have had to drive through the path that the tornado took. And I was
Right.
like, I'll be home later or I'm going to stay here. So I ended up going home and driving. There's a bypass and driving past the Walmart with its windows blown out.
Oh, Jesus.
In its old, in the old place that it was at, like you could see it. There's a new one now, but blew out the windows.
Wow.
I guess, but I mean, all you saw were lights and sirens.
All right.
Like, and heard lights and sirens. I
But that
saw
was-
the sirens.
And that was like 2000.
Yeah, I think it was 2000.
And then they had another one, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 or 3.
2018, something like that.
Yeah. So it's, this is so boring for people outside. Or maybe it's not boring because they keep putting us in goddamn TV shows.
They do.
So it is so if you think about Florida, there are certain things that you know for sure. If a hurricane gets into the panhandle, it's going to hit Navarre, Florida.
Nice.
It might hit a couple of other things on the way,
Right.
but it always ends up going west and hitting Navarre.
Right.
I don't know why people still keep
There's just something about the topography and
right.
stuff.
So
that
it's
just,
a topographical outlay.
Yeah.
And so they say the same thing about Xenia. The reason it always whips diagonally across is because that's like the lay of the land. There's something about it that makes it go that way.
Yeah.
I don't know the scientific term for it. If you do, I don't need to know. So,
I mean, at some point, like, wouldn't you want to just like move the city? Like,
Well,
not
I
move
think
the
this-
who city. But
I
like,
think the
you
same
know,
thing about-
start building shit somewhere else.
I think the same thing about non-permanent homes in Florida. Mm-hmm. Like, how many times are you going to buy a new one?
Well, that's true. And my parents did have a non-permanent home in Florida for a while there, but they lived on the Gulf side, not the
Right.
So they didn't.
You want to be on the west side of a hurricane, not the east side of a hurricane.
Yeah, and they usually didn't have too many problems or anything over there. Although they didn't also make it more than a couple of years down there too, because the humidity and everything else. And they were like, "Fuck this, we're going back to
Freaking
Ohio."
gross.
Yeah,
So when Hurricane Dennis came through, they evacuated Tyndall. But because my roommate was military, there's a radius that they could go. Like you couldn't go past this because you can't be so far away that we can't recall you.
right. Makes sense.
And if you don't know, when you're in the military, it's the most fascinating. So Panama City has a naval station in the air base, and then I'm not sure what else they have, but interesting as hell, because I never realized it because I didn't grow up near a hurricane, which is when hurricanes are coming in, the ships go out to sea. And when the hurricane is coming in, all of the jets go north, like they get out of the way. And so they were allowed to go a certain radius. But I was dating a guy who lived in Navarre, of which you surely must clear, because even though the storm was projected to hit Panama City, we all knew it was going to make a hard left, like head straight for Navarre. So we ended up evacuating to someplace near St. Charles Lake, I think. No, that's not right. Near Lafayette. That might be near the lake, but it was outside of Lafayette because his roommate, his parents owned they had this big house that they turned everything into a bed and breakfast. So they had these bunk houses that would have been used for workers, but they refurbed them and turned them into little B&B buildings. So you would have your own little building when you went there, and then a communal pool. And we didn't pay for it, but we had receipts that said we paid for it. Because you get paid to pull, or to evacuate.
Nice.
We had a great time, but I thought Florida was hot and sticky, and then we went to Louisiana, and I was like, "This is hotter and stickier."
I heard Louisiana's pretty bad about that.
Ugh. And it also became a point where I could always understand his roommate for the most part. There was one time we were at a party, and there was a guy there that was also from Louisiana. But like they were from the same area, so the accent changes depending on where you're at in Louisiana.
Yeah.
And I couldn't understand a damn thing that they were saying. It became that very what you think of in Louisiana, which is like that
Is
the
that called,
patois.
Is it? Oh, I thought
Yeah.
it was. Is it Creole?
Yes. So they're Creole. And I'm not sure if Creole in their language is like, I think they call it like a patois. So
Okay.
it sounds kind of French. Mm-hmm. But they all finish damn words and they run them all together. And it's when we were out there, we went to a bar, which was a pole barn with a gravel floor, but it was really nice. It was very nice. And this guy came in because it started raining. Giant guy, giant, like I'm not saying that he was fat. I'm just saying he was a giant. I came up to like nipple height on him, and I'm 5'7.5". And I could see that I was at nipple height because he was wearing overalls with no shirt.
Nice. Yep.
And he came in, and I'm going to do the worst accent ever, but what he said was, "Ooh, it's raining cat and dogs outside." And what I heard was, "Ooh, why am I calling down?" I was like, Boomhauser. Boomhauer. Is it Boomhauser or Boomhauer from that Texas show, King of the Hill?
I've only seen a couple episodes.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But yeah, I looked at my roommate and he was like, I'm like, do you know what he just said? And he was like, raining cats and dogs outside. I was like, ew. Gotcha. So you've lived with him long enough to know that that's what he said.
You can,
He was
yeah,
like,
read,
but
hear the language.
yeah, it was just hot and sticky and raining.
Yeah.
And kind of gross. But you can get a margarita or a frozen daiquiri from a little shop and then drive away with it or drink it in the parking lot, whatever you want.
Interesting. Louisiana.
Yeah.
Place to visit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Go to a nice little butcher shop, get you some fresh sausage, gator, snake.
Okay, that doesn't sound appealing.
I think we just got what is it? The andouille?
Andouille sausage?
Yeah. I think we just got that and like something else. I forget what it was, but he could only get it there. He couldn't get it in Navarre. But man, I would like to go back, but
I've actually never
in
been
like
to
the
Louisiana.
winter.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to go to Louisiana this winter?
I feel like that would be nice in the wintertime. Yeah.
I think we should take everything with us, get drunk in Louisiana,
Oh.
and record. And there's no way in hell we're not going to get kidnapped and trafficked. So did you ever want to go to Louisiana? Like Mardi Gras, any of that ever seem appealing?
So I've always wanted to go, and actually it's funny because my family, like the family that does the Zoom calls and everything else, we were planning a family vacation, oh gosh, years ago. So we started doing this thing where we used to rotate holidays. So originally we would do, everybody had holidays in like the hometown that everybody grew up, right? And then as everybody got older, so my dad, it's his family, his side of the family. All of them started doing this thing where on Christmases and things like that, we would rotate. And then we started doing a thing where we would go to each different sibling's house for Christmas or whatever. And then it became, you know, everybody has families and grows up, and then the kids start having kids. And so it becomes a bigger pain in the butt to try and get everybody to go different places. And so then we started just doing like a family vacation kind of a thing. And the first year we did it, we all went to Chicago, and it was great. And I have this one uncle who's very organized, and he made a spreadsheet of all of the things that we were going to do.
Oh, he gave you an itinerary?
He gave us an itinerary, but not only did he give us an itinerary, he gave us an itinerary that also included the drinks that we were going to make or have while we were doing said things.
Awesome.
So it was like, okay, so on Monday we're going to wake up and we're going to do this, but we're going to have margaritas with it. And then, you know, Monday evening we're going to go here, but we're going to have like Bloody Marys here. So like,
Where am I going to get Captain and or bourbon? Just
so
tell me what that day is.
we had like drinks built into our itineraries and everything else. And so the Chicago trip was really nice because everybody stayed in their hotel room, their own hotel rooms. And we had, not everybody was in the same hotel. But we were all close enough that we could kind of like have our own time, but also have family time together. So it worked out really well. So we were going to start doing that every year. And then the next year we were going to plan a trip to New Orleans. And I was really excited because I'd never been there. And as much as I've always kind of like, I like the idea of Mardi Gras, I also worked in the news business. And so whenever Mardi Gras was happening, like the 24-hour cameras that are on, what is it, Beale Street or whatever?
No, that's Memphis.
Beale
Street is Memphis.
That's Memphis. What's the...
I'm walking on Beale. Something about one of those songs says Beale Street.
What's the main street in New Orleans that Mardi Gras goes on?
Good question.
Oh,
I don't know.
I can't remember
I can't tell you.
But they have cameras along that
it's in
street.
the French Quarter, right?
It's in the French Quarter.
Okay.
It's like where the when I say Mardi Gras parade, I've learned since then that there are many Mardi Gras parades.
You keep going and I'm going to look it up.
So there are several Mardi Gras parades, but the big one that they do on like Tuesday night, on like Tuesday Mardi Gras, they have live cameras and stuff on that street. And so over the years, like working in the news business, I've had to watch those, not had to, but they're up live in the newsroom, like for everybody to watch because if anything happens. Oh, Bourbon Street. Yes, Bourbon Street, because that makes sense.
I mean, they could have called it Hurricane Street because apparently that's what you're supposed to get when you go there.
But yeah, so I'm used to watching all those cameras and watching those cameras and the people and the partying and just the amount of chaos that is happening there. I'm kind of like, the older I've gotten, the more I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I don't need to be in the middle of that. Like, I wouldn't mind going for the earlier stuff, but like on that Tuesday, Fat Tuesday, I don't need to be on Bourbon Street.
No.
That is a young person's game, and I am good to not join that.
No, depending on how drunk I was, I would still get in on those beads.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, if I was drunk enough, I'd go in there and have a good old time, but like, I would severely regret it the next day.
I think that I would wear like a full freaking mask if I was going to go down there, or at least wear like the eye mask so that, if there's video, nobody can prove that they're my boobs.
Right.
Pictures. I don't want that getting back to my office.
You don't need any of that noise. You don't need any of that. And there are live cameras on that street all the time.
That was as much as Cops had some horrible moments every year at Mardi Gras when Cops was there. I freaking loved it, with the exception that they really did target a certain segment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'd like to go down there, but I'm like Fat Tuesday. I'm not in about the weekend beforehand. Maybe I'd like to go down and experience some of the Mardi Gras, or
just not during Mardi Gras,
right?
Because it's a pretty jumpin' place, no matter when you go.
No matter what. And I've heard the food's phenomenal, so I kind of want to go down and experience the food.
So the only thing that I experienced while we were there is going into Lafayette and going into Lafayette, and we went to this little cafe, and I had beignets for the very first time.
Ooh.
And I would die for one of those. They have some here in Ohio, but I saw them and I'm like, that's not a beignet. That is not, like, it's not full enough. It's not fluffy enough.
Yeah.
It does have enough powdered sugar on it. Because I was that kid who...
Well, in Ohio, we do sugar well here.
Yeah. So I was the kid who would always only eat the cake donuts if they were blueberry unglazed or if they were powdered. I wanted nothing to do with the cinnamons. They used to call them Persians back when I was young, and that's not okay now.
Okay, so I started it's Smile Direct Club.
Yes.
So,
don't put those in.
No, not right now.
Oh, also, I wrote you a note that says,
they're sitting
braces
on the bag.
on plastic bag. Don't throw away the plastic bag. I've had a retainer before.
Oh.
And you have to live by this rule.
I know. I'm terrible. So I'm only like 3 days in. My tongue's already sore on the bottom from hitting them. All right, so here's my goal. So I did it because I had a friend who did it, and she was like, no, they're great, whatever. And she was on her last pair of them. And plus it got me $100 off when I did it. And so
nice.
I have a link too. If anybody wants $100 off Smile Direct Club.
Shit, put it on our Facebook.
But so I started those on Wednesday, which, anytime you start retainers or anything else, you get a headache the first day and whatever else.
You need to get those braces, the braces wax.
I need dental wax to put on the edges. And it even comes with a file, so you can file down like the little...
You have to do that to every damn one?
Well, it's like if you have any sharp edges, you can file them down. It's not so you can file down every single one, but just in case like one comes out with... It happens to have like a little sharp edge or something that's irritating you, it has like a special file just for them, which is nice. But also, like, I feel like a high schooler again because I have to pop these things out every time I eat. But I'm also using...
But you also have to suck them as you pop them.
Oh yeah, it's terrible. But I'm also using them as a weight loss plan because I'm like, it's a 4-month program, right? So I'm like, I have to wear them 22 hours a day. So I get 2 hours that I take them out to actually eat. And it's really severely cut down on my snacking.
That's good.
Because I'm like, I can't like in order to eat anything, I have to pop it out of my mouth, and I'm like, okay, well,
Seems like a...
do I want a string cheese? But then I'm gonna have to take these things out, and then after I eat the string cheese, and I'm gonna have to make sure everything's clean so I can put it back in. Or do I just say, fuck it, I don't want string cheese? So I feel like I'm more in the club of screw it, I don't need string cheese, it's fine.
Is it bothering your speech at all?
So earlier I was talking to my sister on the phone in the car, and all right,
She was like, are you drunk already?
it was a very weird phrase I was saying, but I was like, I went over to visit my dad, and she has an iPhone and he has an iPhone. And the deal was when he got a motorcycle that we got to stalk him on our phone so that we could keep track of him.
Oh, so you've got like Find My phone for him.
Well, so we used to have a different app because I have an Android, but that one we decided was terrible because it sucked everybody's batteries. But my sister has an iPhone and he has an iPhone, so she can do the Find My Friends, whatever thing. So she was like, but he doesn't have it turned on. So when I went to see him today, I turned it on his phone so she could. So I called her in the car on my way home, and I was like, hey, you can stalk Dad now. And she was like, what? And I was like, you can stalk Dad now. And she was like, I don't understand. What are I stalked? What are you like? She didn't understand what I was saying.
She thought you were saying STOCK.
I don't know. I think the problem was I had my aligners in, and I don't think I was saying stalk appropriately.
So you're like saying stock.
I don't know. And she was like, I don't understand. I was like, find my friends. You can find my friends. And she goes, oh, I can stalk him. And I was like, yes. And clearly I can say that now because I don't have them in, because I've been munching on chips and guac and queso this entire time we've been recording.
Are there onions in the guac?
Yes, there's red
I don't
onions.
want any of that then. I'm sorry.
It's delicious. It's very good.
I'm sure it is, but there are onions in it. And I don't want those.
That's true. But
and
yeah,
I don't feel like I should sit here and like suck the guacamole off of onions and spit them out like watermelon seeds.
that's true. I mean, it does have very chunks. But anyway, so I'm sitting here eating like chips and dips and things because I was like, oh, it's dinner time. And I ordered food an hour and a half before we started recording, and it literally arrived as soon as we turned on the button. I was like, okay, well, now I'm taking these out and doing this so I can talk like a normal human being.
There you go. Well, you probably should have done that before we started.
Yeah, anyway. But yeah, so, I mean, it's not terrible. It's just it's a few different letters and things that when I try and say something, it's hard.
Yeah.
It comes out a little weird, but for the most part, it's okay. And I have had people say they didn't even notice they were in until I said something about them. So
that's cool.
Yeah. So they're pretty good so far. I'm satisfied with them so far.
I would like to try that on my bottom teeth. My bottom teeth got messed up. So I had braces for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
It ruined junior high for me. Not really. Nobody was going to be nice to me in junior high anyway, but the braces did not help.
Yeah.
But they would cement a bar once you got off of that or got them off. They would cement a bar from like
behind your teeth.
Yeah, behind your teeth.
Yeah.
Behind, starting from the pointy one and going to the other pointy one.
Yeah.
And then when I had my wisdom teeth taken out, they broke that bar off. I don't know why. Maybe because they were putting me under. I don't know. Maybe they needed to. I don't know why, but I woke up without that. I think they just call it a permanent retainer.
Yeah.
And now apparently they don't do that. They just leave the damn thing in. But my teeth moved. So I went as an almost adult. No, I was like 21 because I was at Wilmington College. So I went and they gave me a removable retainer to try and move my teeth back again.
Oh, I had one of those.
But it was on the bottom. It was on my bottom teeth.
Yeah.
I worked on the weekends. Maybe it was before I went to college. It was before I went to college. So I was a teenager still, like 19. So I had it and I had to wear it all day long and all night long, except for when I was eating.
Yeah.
And I worked at a Radio Shack in Sugar Creek. And you had to answer the phone and say, thank you for calling Radio Shack. Thank you for calling Radio Shack Sugar Creek. Mindy speaking. May I help you?
S's are hard when you have retainers.
So it came out as, thank you for calling Radio Shack. Thank you for calling Radio Shack Sugar Creek. Mindy speaking. May I help you? And then there was usually like a...
Oh, yeah, because then you get spit stuck in there and you gotta suck it out.
Yeah. Same thing happened when I wore a deprogrammer and I was on a customer service call line and it doesn't let you shut your mouth.
Yeah.
So you have to like hit mute and be like... because the deprogrammer stops you from shutting your mouth.
Yeah.
And so then it doesn't go to the roof of your mouth. It's like, like a couple of centimeter away from it. It just gathers spit.
Oh, so all right. So the reason I went to these things is because I had braces also when I was younger, and me and the orthodontist, we had some words. All right. So when I first got braces, I literally went in there like, I don't understand why I have to do this. I mean, aren't you just vain that you need to have your teeth straightened and because I really didn't want to have braces. So I ended up having braces for 2.5 years. I never wore my rubber bands. I never did the things I was supposed to. It was only supposed to be in my
Shame
mouth.
on you.
I only was supposed to have them 2 years. I went 2.5 years, right? Finally get to the point where everything's good. He's taking the braces off. And I was like, put in one of those permanent retainer things. And he was like, oh, we're going to wait a month. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? And he was like, well, here's your retainer that you have to put in and take out every night. We'll see how you do with that. And after a month, we'll put in a permanent one. And I was like, no, put in a permanent one now. And he was like, no. And I was like, okay, what gives you the idea that I'm going to wear a retainer that I'm going to take in and out of my mouth when in the past 2.5 years, I haven't done anything I was supposed to with the braces you had on my teeth? And it's like, fine, fuck it, great, give me the retainer. So he gave me a retainer that I was supposed to wear at nights. I maybe wore it half the time I was supposed to. I mean, I legitimately tried to wear it, but like there were nights where I was like, I just didn't put it in, you know? And so I go back a month later and my teeth had moved. And he goes, well, now we can't put in a permanent retainer because your teeth moved. And I was like, no shit, dumbass. I was like, I told you to put it in a month ago. You didn't. You gave me this. So then they made me a new retainer that was a spring retainer. And it was supposed to go in and it had like this spring loaded thing on it that was supposed to push my teeth back to where they were when my braces were done. It hurt like shit, so I never wore that either. and he's like, well, now your teeth have moved. And I'm like, no, really? Really? Oh, because you gave me a spring loaded retainer that hurts my fucking teeth. I'm not going to wear it. It gives me a headache constantly. Like, no. So I literally just stopped wearing things altogether. And so now it's been what, like, I don't know, 20 years?
Yeah.
So it's been 20 years, at least 23 years since I've gotten my braces off. And of course, my top tooth, the one that was the problem child, is like kind of overlapping my other one. And then my bottom teeth have moved, whatever. And I have an overbite, whatever. So I went to do this thing and they're like, all right, it's a 4-month program. As long as you wear these things like 22 hours a day, 4 months, we give you all the things you need. After 4 months, we'll give you a retainer. You have to wear it at night only. That's it. You're good to go. And I'm like, all right, I feel like I'm an adult now. So like I can be responsible enough to do this. But also,
Do you want me to text you every day and be like, I mean, have your goddamn teeth in or your braces in?
I will say it's funny because last night we were sitting in front of the TV and what did we have? We had dinner. Oh, I had dinner last night. It was late. And I came home and I was hungry and I made myself dinner and I took them out and I had them in my little compact thing on the coffee table. And I ate my food or whatever and I was sitting there and my partner, he looks over and he goes, are you supposed to have those in now? And I was like, yeah, I gotta go rinse them off. And he was like, all right. And he like paused the TV show so that I would get my ass up and go rinse them off and put them back in my mouth. And I was like, all right, thank you.
Holding the TV hostage.
Yeah,
until you did
he's
what
holding
you were
me
supposed to
accountable and making sure I'm doing it, which is good because, you know, I paid a lot of money for it. And I'm like, all right, so I gotta do it. Although I feel like once I get more into the groove of doing it, I'm only 3 days in. So once I get more into the groove of doing it, I feel like it'll be better. It's just I need to learn the habits.
You need to set yourself a timer 5 minutes after you wake up that says put your damn braces on.
Oh, no. So I wear them overnight. So I actually, in the morning, it's not a problem. The morning is great because I have a routine now where I wear them overnight. And then when I wake up in the morning, I have a little, it's called a spa. It's a sonic spa for my little... And you like fill it up with water and you put a little tablet in it. It's like a minty tablet.
Will you take my engagement ring home and clean it for me? Because I have to take it to a jeweler to get it clean before the wedding.
Yeah. So I put the little things in there and like you turn it on and it's got a sonic and a like UV light. So it like does a little shaky thing, but it also like, yeah. And so it's got a 10-minute process. So when I wake up in the morning, I do that and I can take a shower, brush my teeth, whatever. And then I can put them back in and they're all like minty clean.
So I was on medication called Effexor. And it did fine. It did fine. I think we talked on the last episode that I was recently diagnosed as bipolar 2.
Yeah.
So I was on way too many antidepressants. They were only semi-helping. So then I went on, now I'm on 2 different, I started Lamictal, and now I'm on Latuda and Lamictal, we're just trying to find the balance.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get there.
You're experimenting.
It's fine.
Seeing where you go.
But I came off of Effexor, which is the worst thing ever. But being on it, I had to go into my dentist. Like once I got to full strength,
Yeah.
I was only on that for like a year before I had to come off of it. But once I got to full strength, because you're 2 weeks, then you're there.
Yeah.
I had to go to my dentist because it was causing me, I had to look it up to make sure that I wasn't losing my mind. The Effexor was causing me to clench my teeth.
Oh.
So I don't grind. I just bite down really hard in my sleep and don't let go for 6 or 7 hours. I wake up with like an aching jaw. My head would hurt.
Yeah.
It's not good for your teeth because I've cracked a tooth before doing that.
Oh, yeah.
So I went in, got the little thing. And then the last time I went to the dentist, they were like, so are you still wearing your bite guard? And I was like, no, I'm not. But it's because I'm not doing that anymore because I'm off the medication. And I'm going to get the same question on Monday.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I don't, it was the least sexy thing in the world because if you're going to have like, special time before you go to bed,
Yeah.
that means you have to get out of bed. I mean, you should go pee anyway, but that means you have to get out of bed and like actually seek your bite guard, which for me, it's hard telling where I left it.
Right.
It's wherever I took it out and then I forgot where it was.
Right.
I just feel like that's, a post mood killer to come back to bed and be like, see you in the morning. I love you.
Love it.
With spit. That's nice. So can you tell us where we can find us?
Oh, absolutely. So if you'd like to find us on Instagram or Twitter, you can go to DBBL_podcast. If you want to look us up on Facebook or YouTube, go to DBBL space podcast. And you can go to our website, which is dbblpodcast.com. If you'd like to just contact us immediately and get in touch with us over email, you can do dbblpodcast@gmail.com. So thank you for joining us. Yay!
Cheers.
I just got a text message that said, please place your drink orders here.
Yeah, I need another one of these.
Yeah. Is that a Building 26?
Yeah. Bless their heart. I think he enjoys this way more than he says he does.
I think he does, yeah.
He likes the concept of it.
Why am I down on this?